Hey guys, it's Neil with Mechanical Difficulties again. Should be episode 4 now. Previously, we showed you a time lapse of me pulling the engine out and showed you a little bit of what was left over, and I told you that I was going to start cleaning up and start doing some problem solving. So that's what today's episode is about. I'm going to show you the engine bay before this next weekend. We're going to stick the new engine in. But let me take you in here and show you a little bit about what's going on. So, as you can see, I've cleaned it up a little bit. Took the heater box out. Took a lot of the wiring out. I still haven't taken the speedometer cable out. Took the brake booster out. I left the steering gear in there. Battery tray still there. And yeah, and I painted it all, just spray painted it real quick, nothing fancy, didn't take any rust off or do any of that. I just wanted something to coat the rust that was already there so it wouldn't get any worse. And you know, later on down the road, when I get a little bit more time and money invested in this thing, I can have it professionally painted and fixed. So that's that. One of the problems that I had to solve was the brake pedal was too short, because the brake booster that was on there from the factory was about 1.5 inches. The little plunger was about 1.5 inches shorter than the new one is. So I had to figure out what I was going to do. Originally I was going to take the brake pedal out of the Tahoe and just put it in there, call it a day. But once I got looking at it, it wasn't really going to fit well. And if I had done that, it would have ended up putting the brake pedal like 3 inches closer to my feet. So that wasn't a good option. Scrapped that. What I did end up doing though is I cut the pivot off of the Tahoe pedal and I welded it onto the Scout pedal. So that way it gives me that extra 1.5 inches so that the pedal's not sticking out in like on my foot, and also it gives me the factory pivot pin where I can put the boost switch, the bolt, everything, and everything will be factory. So that's something I had to figure out there. I'm going to have to make block off plates for those 3 holes there, or well, several holes. I've already measured all of that stuff out. We'll get that covered up and spooged on with some RTV or some seam sealer or something, so that I don't have a gaping hole in the firewall. Also, I got to cover that up. That, yeah, don't mind that. The biggest issue that I have right now is this radiator support width. The factory width is 27 inches. I have to have 40 inches of clearance to make this work. So what we're going to end up having to do is, let me get this where I can actually hold it. We're going to have to take this mount, cut it off, drop it down about 3/4 of an inch. We're going to cut this back right about where the horn stops on this side, right where this mount is, and then take the factory core support that I have from the Tahoe and mount it on there. I'll cut the hole and use this mount to mount the core support, and then I'm going to have to weld in. Basically what I'm going to do is take this, or part of the core support that I still have, move it over here so that this fender still has something to bolt to and stay sturdy. So that's going to be quite the chore, but hopefully that should figure that out, or that should be pretty easy to figure out. The next thing, before probably the day of, I will pull this Scout in and weld in the new engine mount brackets. They got to go right here. They're from Anything Scout. They just shove right up here, up against the bump stop. I don't know if you can see it down there. And then you weld them in. I think they actually have holes where you can drill and put bolts through it, but I'm going to weld them in. Same thing on this side. It just bumps up against the bump stop, and there it is. Exhaust. I did get some decent headers, some headers that hug the side so they can actually go down. I couldn't get them from anything Scout because they were sold out, but luckily they did still have their LS mount kit in stock, so that was cool. And I got headers that are very similar to the ones they had on their website, so I think they're going to work. They clear the new mounts just right and gives me plenty of room to send a pipe from the header straight down to the exhaust pipe, which you can see right there. An issue that I know I'm going to face later on is this cross member here. That's where the transmission mount goes. It's not far enough back, not even close, but the parking brake cable runs through it, and that end of the parking brake cable right there has two nuts and a threaded rod that holds it all together, and they're both rusted on there. They are now one piece, which is not great, but you know, such is life. I'm not sure if I'm going to end up having to cut that. I really don't want to have to cut that, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that, and I know I'm not going to be able to fab it. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But yeah, this cross member is going to have to move back like a foot, I think. I don't know. I haven't quite measured it. I was going to measure it once the trans is in here. Drive shaft obviously got to go, but yeah, haven't quite got to that yet. Yeah, one thing that I did get really lucky on, these hoses, which are okay, they're not really leaking. Oh, excuse me. Looks like they're going to fit when I put that power steering pump on the firewall. So they reach, and then this return line is just normal hose, so I can just get normal hose if I need any longer. But I was really concerned about this pressure hose not being long enough. So I don't think we have any issues there. That'll be nice. And yeah, I did also figure out, so because I'm having to use so much of the stock Tahoe, like the BCM, the PCM, the ABS modules, or well, the ABS module, I found a forum online that gave a real detailed way of adding ABS to a Dana 44, and then the Dana 30 up front, which, you know, it's not here yet, but when I get to putting that part in, I can just swap updated axles and mount a sensor and then wire it in, and that should take care of that. As far as anti-theft system goes, because I'm still using the same body control module, for now I do have the key to the Tahoe that I got all the modules out of, so I'm going to take the key and the theft detection module out, and I'm going to tape them together up under the dash. Hopefully no one watching this is nearby, so they don't know how to steal my car, but you know, whatever. I'm going to tape it up under there so it sees that a transponder is there, and I don't have to wire around that or do anything funky there. So that should take care of that. That proportioning valve has got to go, but I really didn't want to take it off just yet. We're going to have to make all new lines because, like I said before, I need that master cylinder has got to go all the way back to the ABS module, which is going to have to be mounted to the frame rail. It's probably going to be on the outside of the frame rail under the driver's seat. On the Tahoe, it's on the inside under the driver's seat, or a little bit further back. But there's a lot more room underneath the Tahoe than there is underneath the Scout, so that may be an issue, probably going to be an issue that will probably be solved with a body lift, but I don't know yet, so that's not a big deal. I did grab the front and rear sway bar off the Tahoe, so at some point we'll see about mounting those and get this thing to take a corner better than a tractor like it was originally designed. Other than that, I think that's all the update I got for you. Let me set you down and get me all looking pretty. Oh, by the way, yeah, Spencer's not here today, so that's why the camera looks all crappy. It's because I'm in charge. But yeah, hopefully he'll be able to help us a little bit more. I don't think you can see me. Let me tilt this up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hopefully Spencer will be able to help us a little bit more in the future. He's agreed to very graciously come out and lend his toys whenever he can, but I usually only call for him whenever it's big stuff. Like I tried to get him out here for the time lapse to take the engine out, but he wasn't available at the time. We had a scheduling conflict, so unfortunately he couldn't be out here for that, but fortunately he was able to film the aftermath, so that was cool. Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of him in the future. And yeah, like I said, next video should be a time lapse of trying to put the engine in, and hopefully the next time you see this car it'll have an LS and a 2ML70 in it. I hope. So, yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Stick around. We're going to keep filming. Like, subscribe, follow for more. Deuces!